It's lovely to be here this Friday with George Dixon from Mobsta. How are you today?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Very well. Lovely to be here.
How's the week been? The weather's been a bit hit and miss, hasn't it?
A bit hit and miss. Freezing on the way here as well, so hopefully that might change the bank holiday weekend. But yeah, not too bad.
And this week in the news, we've been talking about Google has made TV available programmatically, which is a little bit unusual. Were you surprised by that, or do you think that's going to be more and more common?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it in things that are out of home moving that way anyway. We've had, Channel 4 launching personalised ads, Sky with their Ad Smart, which, announced with Virgin Media sort of partnership last week. So I think as agencies and brands want to have more control and even want to look at things like their incremental reach that VOD's giving them versus TV, it's a natural evolution.
Fabulous. Another thing we've been talking about this week, we were having a little chat about off camera, was Deutsche Telekom has been working with Gorillaz, the band, the virtual band.
Yes.
Because obviously everything's so virtual these days. It's interesting they're bringing them. Well, they've got the new album coming out. They're coming back. They've got a new app that they're launching where you kind of scan magenta surfaces and any surface can become a screen, so to speak.
Well, it's interesting. It's up there. I suppose it's a little bit of that AI layers that obviously Facebook were huge on last week at F8, and obviously Snapchat have been very successful with. Yeah. But even discoverability with Pokemon Go, it's one of those things that customers, consumers want to be able to get more from their content, get more content, make it discoverable, add value to the things they're using, and brands are very confident in using content to offer that. So some might be a gimmick, but I think this is quite interesting because they've got clearly quite a good content plan laid out, and as long as you can find something magenta.
You mentioned that you scanned you looked up the colour magenta to scan it.
Yeah, I looked on Google Images for the Pantone, and then suddenly it all came to life. So that was quite cool.
What was it you actually saw when you did that?
So you get I can't remember his name now. The lead singer. It's been a few years. Was it 2D? Yeah. Came up, and then they had a live gig environment as well. So I think that maybe will kick off more with the album launch. I think that's tomorrow.
I need to get a new phone because my phone just can't handle all these apps. I really want to download at the moment. I'm really addicted to Rick and Morty on Netflix, and they've got an app called Pocket Mortys. One of my colleagues keeps asking me every day, have you downloaded it yet? I haven't had a chance yet. Apparently it's a bit like Pokemon Go, but with you collect Morty from the show instead. Yeah, sounds a lot of fun. But anyway, Snapchat, who obviously love all this digital content, have now started doing more geo filters as of this week, advertising geo filters. I mean, what do you think makes a geo filter so attractive to a brand? Because I really like, obviously, the augmented lenses they do. The geo filters seem a little bit more basic to me, but what makes that stand out to you?
Well, obviously, we know from our experience at Mobsta that relevance is important, and location relevance even more so. Now, this is big regional stuff, so UK, US, that kind of thing. But there's nothing more frustrating for a consumer than seeing a product that's not relevant to them, or just they can't even buy. Yeah. Seeing a Lynx advert when it's a different brand in another market would be fairly irrelevant. So, it adds relevance. It makes things more interesting for the consumer. Makes them realise straight away it's targeted to them. And as I say, we know from our experience. So just adding a little bit of relevance to a campaign, to your creative, improves engagement and improves awareness. So it's an intelligent move. It's a logical one. But so hopefully we'll see that coming through. So
we've been looking as well because recently Huffington Post has rebranded online as HuffPost. Yeah. It's a massive step, obviously a huge change, drastic. Do you think it's necessary? Why do you think they did it?
Well, I mean, they need to perhaps evolve a little bit from Ariana stepping down 6 months ago, certainly before Christmas, after her earn out. So it's one of those, they want to keep the general vibe of the brand, the things that she started the whole site maybe 12 years ago to live and breathe, but show that they have evolved away from her. They've got they've got a new editor-in-chief quite recently, so they're just evolving as a news, a front page news source, and just showing they're all aligned and still live and breathe those values, but are growing away from Ariana's original vision, perhaps, or certainly her name, but just coming out of the shadows a bit, perhaps.
It's a bit of an evolution from the original concept.
Exactly, yeah.
And the big story, though, that everyone really has been talking about, though, is the elections. It's just crazy, isn't it? Europe's election fever, we called it, happening because it's happening in France next week, is it? And then Germany, we've got a little bit longer, but obviously UK as well now. How do you think it's going to play out, and how do you think it's going to affect the industry?
Like all things, there's going to be a period of uncertainty. Particularly with our own election in June. You're going to see people, changes to the markets, which can then impact, of course, media budgets, marketing spends, which then, of course, affects everyone across the industry, and hopefully it won't be on the same scale as the last recession. But we need to keep perhaps. Maintain what we're doing as much as possible, as in keep that trust, keep people seeing the brands they love, which I'm sure they don't crave, but just gives them a certain reliance on on the norms and what they're used to, and no kind of scaremongering where suddenly having huge brands disappearing from their airwaves and that kind of thing. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Will the next iteration of the government, supporting blue chip companies, or were they pushing money into the Silicon Roundabout? There's a little small changes and manifestos we've still got to see. So it'd be exciting to see at least and see how it develops.
Yeah, definitely want to watch, and it's going to impact us one way or another, I'm pretty sure. Other big news, it's bank holiday this weekend. Have you got any plans? Guardians of the Galaxy, perhaps?
I'm not sure the wife's keen, but
what's there not to love? Chris Pratt and Batista. And a talking tree.
I might have to. I haven't thought of the talking tree. Maybe that will sell it in. I'm sure Chris Pratt will be an appeal at some level, but yeah, I think perhaps a bit of sun if it exists. If not, I'm long overdue painting a wall in the bedroom or downstairs. So yeah, nothing too exciting. How about yourself?
Fingers crossed I'll get to the cinema. I'm actually going to see the re-release of Mad Max in black and white, which should be quite fun for my friend's birthday, and perhaps might even partake in a cheeky cocktail or two if I'm lucky.